St. Louis, and in the shadow of the arch, downtown St. Louis, we get ready for game number 3. 1996 National League Championship Series. We're glad you're with us here on Fox. The first 2 games split right down the middle in Atlanta. How about a look at the Braves starting lineup? Marquise Grissom will lead it off. Then Mark Lemke batting second, hitting .341 in his career during the postseason with runners in scoring position. Chipper Jones has a stiff neck, but he's in the lineup ready to go, as is Fred McGriff, hitless in this series so far. Then Javier Lopez, Jermaine Dye, Andrew Jones gets his first start of the postseason. Jeff Blauser batting 8th and pitching and batting 9th. Very good hitting pitcher is Tom Glavine. Look at the Cardinal defense. Tom Pagnozzi, 3-time Gold Glove Award winner, did not win this year. Charles Johnson of the Florida Marlins took that honor, but still very solid behind the plate with his Cardinal pitching staff and Tony La Russa. Look at Donovan Osborne as the Cardinals take the field. His thoughts on the series so far and his job here this afternoon in St. Louis.
Our main goal was to get one there in Atlanta. We got one. We wanted 2, but it didn't work out. But series is tight now. We got 5, and we got 3 here. So the fans are going to be on them, and the Cardinals are going to be on them. We're going to be going right at them, and we're going to do everything we can to win.
Guys, I think you hear Donovan Osborne talk, and he kind of echoes the feeling you get when you walk around the Cardinal clubhouse. This is a St. Louis team led by Tony La Russa that believes they can beat the Atlanta Braves.
I don't know if anybody else around the country outside of St. Louis believes that, but these St. Louis fans do, and as you said, the guys in that clubhouse do, and quite honestly, I believe they have a chance. They need to keep doing what they did in Game 2, get the top of the order on base, run the bases aggressively, take advantage of their speed, and put the pressure on the Atlanta Braves.
Donovan Osborne, on the other hand, I think it's very, very important that he establish his breaking ball early. His best pitch is his curveball. He is nowhere near the type of pitcher that Tommy Glavine is. Here's the scouting report. Imperative that he gets his curveball over, and when he does, the offense could be in trouble. He throws a good circle changeup for strikes, and as we said in the opening, it's very, very important that he maintain his cool under a condition where it's very difficult to do that.
The Cardinals are waiting for Donovan Osborne to get to the point where Todd Stottlemyre has arrived, and that is a very emotional guy, very intense, but able to harness those emotions, get it pointed in the right direction. Donovan is kind of scatterbrained out there at times, and you'll see him during this game. If things don't go well, you'll notice it bodily, you'll notice it facially. You can tell when things aren't going right. Conversely, on the other side, Tom Glavine, you never know. You would never know if he's going good or bad. He's just as cool as they get.
Yeah, managers love the emotion. They love that. But you just have to bottle it better.
You'd rather have to teach a guy how to cool himself down.
Absolutely.
Than to teach him to get intensity. If the intensity's there, it's a lot easier to teach a guy to get control of it and keep his head in the game than it is to try to teach a guy how to be an aggressive competitor.
Packed house here at Busch Stadium. It holds just over 57,000. Started playing baseball here in 1966 after moving from Old Sportsman's Park. Marquise Grissom will lead it off. 308 during the regular season. During the postseason, hitting only .190, a 2-run home run in Game 2 in Atlanta. Trying to jumpstart this Atlanta offense. Underway, strike 1.
Speaking of jump-starting, what the Braves and the Cardinals may be doing in the first several innings, swinging at the first pitch before that shadow down the first baseline jumps over home plate.
0-1, the count on Grissom. Up the middle. Clayton, good play to his left. Forget it. Base hit. Clayton, everything he could do to get a glove on the ball, but he had Grissom played in the hole, and Marquise is on with an infield single.
A lot of ground to cover here by Royce Clayton. You mentioned shading a little bit in the hole, a bouncer right up over the mound. A great play by Clayton. Has a little trouble getting his balance to make the throw, but I don't think it made any difference anyway with Grissom's tremendous speed.
Yeah, we talked about it in the open, and very much like it was with the Cardinals in Atlanta, getting an early lead for the Braves will be important here this afternoon.
Take the crowd out of the game early.
Mark Lemke at the plate. During this postseason, hitting .222. Really, the Braves as a team are not hitting in this postseason. Ball 1 to Lemke. It was 2 out of 6 in this series.
And I can speak from experience knowing how important it is to keep the crowd out of the game. In the '87 playoffs, Chili Davis was quoted as calling St. Louis a cow town. The next day, 25,000 fans showed up with cowbells. Of course, that was a series Jeffrey Leonard had the one flap down home run trot, which irritated the fans here.
That's to third for Gant. The runner was going. Grissom down to second, and the ground out by Lemke.
We said with the two left-handers starting today that the running game would be thwarted, and what we meant was that the stolen base part of it would be thwarted. Whenever you have left-handed pitchers out there with good moves, you opt for the hit and run instead of the stolen base.
It'll be thwarted and stopped.
Stop.
Certainly.
Chipper Jones at the plate. 1 on, 1 out. Runner at second. No score in the first inning. Chipper Jones bothered by a stiff neck, which he got making that dive attempt on the pop-up bunt off the bat of Mark Sweeney in game 2. Chipper a chance to put the Braves on top. Strike 2. Home plate umpire today. Very important when Tom Glavine is on the mound. As he'll work the corners, it's Bob Davidson behind the plate. The rest of the names and the men in blue here in St. Louis game 3. Runner at second, Grissom, 1 out. And the wild pitch sends Grissom to third. Talk about a pitcher getting excited. That was about a 48-footer out of the hand of Donovan Osborne.
That was a choked curveball.
Until he gets a feel for this early in the ball game here, you can see this pitch hits way out in front of home plate. Tough block for any catcher. When the ball hits that far in front of home plate, there is no way to anticipate where it's going to go. You can see that rather than drop down to his knees as Pagnozzi normally would, he kind of stayed up a little higher because he knew that curveball was going to bounce high if it got by him.
And that's his first curveball, and on our scouting report we said he's got to establish that pitch early.
Infield halfway in, 1-2 to Jones. He stays alive as he just got a piece.
Osborne uncorked 6 wild pitches on the regular season, and I'm sure most of them are on that big sweeping curveball and probably early in the ball game.
Runner at third, 1 out. A chance for the Braves to take a first inning lead in St. Louis. Into right field. That'll get the job done. Jordan a late break to get it. Grissom tags and scores. And the Braves take a 1-0 first inning lead. So the wild pitch immediately comes into play on the sacrifice fly hit by Jones, and the Braves jump out in front.
We talk about adjusting all the time. Teams have to adjust. Hitters have to adjust during one at bat. Fastball for a strike, changeup for a strike, curveball for a wild pitch. He came back with a straight change. Jones didn't try to pull it. He hit it the other way. Good hitting by Chipper Jones.
Now McGriff. Good hitting is not anything you can say in front of McGriff in this series. He is 0 for 7. Hitting 188 during the postseason. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
Well, talking to Fred McGriff before the ball game today, I asked him what he expected from Osborne. He said a lot of hard sliders, that big curveball. But the fastball from Osborne, Fred McGriff feels is a pretty straight pitch. So if he's going to throw a fastball to Fred, he better keep it out of the zone.
It's also over the top, and left-handers over the top aren't as tough for left-handed hitters to hit as guys who drop down.
Well, Osborne falls behind 3-1. Dave Duncan, the Cardinal pitching coach, watching Donovan issue strike 2, and it's a full count on McGriff, who is 1 for his last 18 with no extra base hits against Donovan Osborne. 3-2. He did not go. A 2-out walk keeps the first half inning alive.
Osborne goes with a high fastball, hoping to get McGriff to chase up out of the strike zone.
Initially, it didn't look like he went around, but that shot, I think Fred caught a break there.
Caught a break, caught a walk, a 2-out walk, and here's Javier Lopez hitting .282 during the regular season. During the postseason, .333.
Seems like all replays look like hitters go around, though.
Absolutely. shooting at us again. Strike one.
Here we go again.
We're ready for him today, though. I see we have some mitts back here in the back of the booth, so
got it.
We'll be ready. Of course, by the time we get that glove up here in the front of the booth, it won't do us any good.
Javier Lopez trying to extend this first inning for Atlanta. Tom Glavine will be on the mound today for the Braves. McGriff, a 2-out walk. That's foul. And an 0-2 count on Lopez.
Osborne will use his changeup more to right-handed hitters than he will to lefties, but unlike a lot of left-handers, he will throw that changeup to left-handed hitters.
The reason a lot of left-handed pitchers don't like to throw changeups to left-handed hitters is because they're in a zone that's low and away to right-handers. That zone to left-handers is in the most volatile area, down and in.
0-2 to Lopez. Fastball misses high, 1-2. Donovan Osborne 1-2 career against Atlanta this year, lost to the Braves in late April 7-2. Defeated by Greg Maddux. Breaking ball stayed high, 2-2.
Had a good shot there of Tom Pagnozzi as he was given the signs, taking a peek up to Javi Lopez to make sure he wasn't taking a peek, trying to pick up location or steal a sign.
Yeah, you peek to keep him from peeking. One good peek deserves another.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Into left center field, well hit. Gant back over his head up against the wall. McGriff will have to hold at third. Did not get a good break. With 2 out, he only goes first to third, and it's still a 1-0 game.
And you know, Joe, speaking of good breaks, I don't think Ron Gant saw that ball off the bat right away, and I thought he gave up on the ball. Watch him turn his back to the infield. I think if he keeps going, he at least has a chance to make the play, knowing that Ray Langford, the center fielder, is going to be there. What may have been going through Ronnie's mind, he may have thought the carom would go past him, and then Langford's got to make the throw to try to get McGriff, and everybody knows Langford has a rotator cuff pull.
So the double by Lopez just stuck the bat out and shot it over the head of Gant and left. McGriff only able to get to third, and here's the rookie Jermaine Dye, 0 for 8 in this series. And for the entire postseason, just 2 out of 19. Runners on at second and third, 2 out here in the first inning. Right at Clayton. It almost took Royce into left field. Dye hit it hard, but right at the Cardinals shortstop. Braves get one of the first. Cards come to bat. Atlanta stranded 2, and look at the Cardinals starting lineup. Royce Clayton will lead off at short, then Ray Langford hitting second, Ron Gant hitting third, then Jordan, then the hero from Game 2 for St. Louis, the grand slam by Gaetti. John Mabry hitting sixth, Tom Pagnozzi catching, batting seventh, Mike Gallego in the lineup again, Donovan Osborne pitching and batting ninth. The defense for Atlanta, Andrew Jones, is the youngest starter in LCS history, 19 years old, 5 months, 19 days, making his first postseason start, period. And on the mound is the left-hander, Tom Glavine.
Well, we talked about Glavine at the top of the show. He's going to work the outside corner with his fastball. He's going to work the outside corner with his changeup. He's going to throw breaking balls on the outside corner. He lives on that outside corner, but if you talk to hitters around the National League, they're very aware of that cut fastball that he throws inside. The thing is, he doesn't throw very many. Maybe 3 or 4 times a game he'll go inside on a right-hander and jam him, but it's done enough around the league to keep them all honest. Very few teams make adjustments and try to get that outside pitch away from Tommy Glavine.
Royce Clayton will lead off, then Langford, then Gant. Braves out in front 1-0 here in the first. And a lead for Tom Glavine. 4 out of 10 in the postseason for Clayton. Had a big night in Game 2. He looks at ball 1 low. Clayton had a couple of hits and a walk against Greg Maddux. Maddux and the Braves allowing 8 runs in Game 2, only 3 of which were earned. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's a lane you'll be seeing all day long from Maddux. It's Primrose Lane for him.
1 ball, 1 strike. A little low. 2 balls and a strike. I know you guys believe this. Hitters against Glavine more times than not will swing and either get themselves out or swing and miss at pitches out of the strike zone, more so than any pitcher on this staff.
More than any pitcher in the National League, Tom Glavine gets outs with balls off the plate, not strikes.
Clayton, a base hit into center field, and a good start for St. Louis.
Here's what we were talking about on the double by Lopez. There's Ray Lankford. There's Ron Gant. The reason that Gant plays this, in my opinion, cautiously and conservatively, is if the ball gets by him. You see, he's making the play. Had that ball come up here, Lankford is committed to field the ball, and Lankford has a torn rotator cuff. And if he feels the ball, then I think third base coach Jimmy Williams sends McGriff instead of Holsey.
Here is Lankford with the bad shoulder, takes a strike over the outside corner. So the Cardinals played it that way and won only because Jermaine Dye, the next hitter, lined right to Royce Clayton to end the inning. Clayton is on at first here at the bottom of the first. And the 0-1 to Lankford. Hard to believe that Ray Lankford is 6 out of his last 8 against Tom Glavine.
Well, a lot of people around the league believe that Glavine is much tougher against right-handers because he can work that outside corner with the sinker. It kind of takes that pitch away against the lefties.
Right.
A ball and a strike on Lankford and a check on Clayton.
14 runners have tried to steal second this year. 7 have been successful. Only 4 stolen bases against Donovan Osborne and only 7 against Glavine.
In our Fox box, top left-hand corner of your screen, red dot on it first, indicating Royce Clayton here in the bottom of the first. The Braves out in front by 1. Late cut, strike 2 on a good fastball from Glavine.
A red dot rather appropriate in this ballpark.
Absolutely. I mean, have you ever seen more red clothing in your life?
Man.
It was an intimidating sight in '87 when the Giants came in here to play the Cardinals in the NLCS, and 50,000 people plus all wearing red.
They want to see something out of Lankford. Clayton at first, nobody out. Saved by Lopez in a 2-2 count.
Good play by Lopez. What he did, it was a slider, and he glided to where he thought the slider would be. You go with it. Good play.
As a catcher, you always anticipate a breaking ball going in the dirt. The one most catchers are going to have problem with is when a guy uncorks a 90-mile-an-hour fastball in the dirt, because you never expect a pitcher to throw a fastball in the dirt.
2-2 to Lankford, now a full count. Gant waiting on deck.
Interesting running situation right here. Tony La Russa realized Ray Lankford 140 strikeouts this year. If you are going to run, you have to make sure Glavine pitches. You cannot get picked off in this situation.
3-2. Runner was going, and a pop-up into shallow left. Tough play. Blauser, great play for the Braves. The only one that could get there. Blauser covered a lot of ground and took a blue pit away from Lankford.
We talk about base runners who have to check the outfielders. Infielders defensively have to check and know how deep their outfielders are playing. Blauser, knowing Andrew Jones is playing deep, makes the play himself and avoids a collision.
Little juggle at the end of it. Blauser able to hang on. And with 1 on, 1 out, the batter will be Ron Gant. And a strike over the outside corner.
Just keep an eye on Javier Lopez throughout this ball game. After he gives the sign, how many times he moves out and splits that outside corner with the middle of his body. goes again.
This time it misses. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Leo Mazzoni telling us before the game that most pitchers never give in to a hitter. Tommy Glavine never gives in to a strike zone.
Moves Gant off the plate. 2 balls and a strike, and there's one of those early pitches to a right-handed hitter to at least keep the Cardinals honest.
And keep account of how many of those you see, but that is the pitch that has earned the respect of right-handed hitters throughout the National League. That's why more guys don't cheat up on the plate, cheat up in the box, and look away on Tom Glavine, because every now and then he'll run that one right in on your hands.
2 balls and a strike, and a check on Clayton, who's going nowhere.
Yeah, another thing Leo Mazzoni said, never give in to the strike zone, and Glavine continues to remind himself during the game, stay stubborn. And what that means is do not throw strikes. Stay stubborn. A 3-2 count. Now he's behind with Gant, 2-1.
Staying stubborn and missing low and away. 3-1. Now you have to come to Gant or put 2 on, and there's where Ron Gant likes it, inside.
And the blue zone is where Tommy Glavine has consistently tried to pitch him, with the exception of that 1 cut fastball inside. 3-1 count here. It looks like Glavine may have to come to one of those red zones.
1 on, 1 out. That is hit a ton. 2-1, St. Louis.
Red alert. Red alert for Ron Gant right here. That's Brian Jordan. We'll show you Gant's right down the pipe, but not for long.
Boy, Ronnie Gant is a strong, strong man. You look at him in that uniform and you don't realize how powerful he is, but he showed everybody in this ballpark what he can do with a mistake pitch.
Ron Gant gives him a curtain call. He has had some postseason. That's his 2nd home run. He came in 7 out of 19. Had a huge game against Maddox and the Braves on Thursday. Now Jordan, a 1 ball, 1 strike count. Gant had 3 hits, including an RBI double against Maddox in that 8-3 St. Louis win.
Well, so much for taking the crowd out of the game, huh? This place erupted as soon as Ron Gant made contact with that fastball.
And now with 1 out, nobody on, the bases have been cleared. A 1-1 count on Jordan. Gant falls behind, or I should say Glavine, 2-1. Ron Gant has given this crowd of better than 57,000 here in St. Louis something to smile and cheer about. 3-1 now on Jordan.
Ron Gant has the Atlanta Braves seeing red. In the red.
Now the 3-1 to Jordan. Full count.
And you could see from where Javier Lopez was set up, they were still going to try to work the outside corner on Ron Gant, even with the 3-1 count. But Lopez had to come back to his left towards the middle of the plate. The damage was done.
Full count on Jordan. Off the hands, it'll stay full. Leo Mazzoni and this Atlanta Braves pitching staff getting a stiff test from the Cardinals. Now Jordan pops it up on the infield for Lemke. He struggles at times with pop-ups. Does not have the best eyesight. Has a difficult time with plays such as those. Takes care of it. 2 out here in the first inning, and the batter will be Gaetti. From near and far, they applaud Gaetti from Centralia, Illinois, which is just across the river. Grew up a Cardinal fan, of course. After that, grew up a Minnesota Twin. Came here in 1987. Twins won the World Series from the Cardinals. Gaetti, a swinging bunt rolls foul. And a count 1-1.
You know, a lot of players would probably hesitate to admit it, but I think that's got to be one of the biggest thrills and something you would really look forward to. Coming back to your home team, the team that you grew up rooting for, I think that has to be a huge thrill for Gary Gaetti.
It was the 7th inning in game 2. 2 out, bases loaded, hanging slider from Maddox, and Gaetti knew what to do with it. The 5th NLCS Grand Slam and an 8-3 Cardinal win.
Interesting article in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch about Gary and his parents, Bill and Jackie, who still live in Centralia, watching the game the other night. And Bill telling Jackie that Gary's going to swing at the first pitch. And sure enough, he did for a grand salami.
2 out, nobody on. A 1-1 pitch coming to Gaetti. And again, Glavine falls behind. He's been behind each hitter in this inning.
Right.
Sticks his bat out and dumps one into right. So a 3-hit first inning for the Cardinals against Glavine, who at least during the regular season, Bob, has a tough time in the first inning, an ERA over 5, but in the postseason, an ERA of under 1 in the first inning. That doesn't appear to be happening here today.
Well, the Cardinals they took advantage of his mistakes. Ronnie Gant got the fastball over the heart of the plate. Gary Gaetti, although it wasn't a picture perfect swing, he did what he had to do on a tough pitch on the outside corner right there.
Mabry looks at ball 1.
Coming into this game, Tommy Glavine had not allowed a postseason run in the first inning in his last 11 starts.
He's allowed 2 on the home run by Gant, and now a 2-out hit by Gaetti. And a 1-1 count on Mabry. A 28-pitch first inning for Glavine.
And the Cardinals are making Glavine come a little bit closer to the zone anyway. He may never give in to the strike zone, but if you force him when he's behind in the count to at least come closer to the strike zone, be patient with him, you can get a pitch to hit.
That caught the corner, according to Bob Davidson. And the count 1-2.
That's an interesting point, Bob, because while Tommy Glavine may be saying stay stubborn, the hitters have to say be patient.
Absolutely.
1 on, 2 out. Mabry drill. And Leo Mazzoni is going to come out and talk to Glavine, who has had a 29-pitch first inning, and he has struggled from the start.
Gene Gieselman, the trainer of the Cardinals, out to talk to John Mabry. It looked like he got hit in his derriere. Let's see. Nope, hip. It was a little higher, his right hip. He appears to be all right. Looked like it hit him right on the belt line.
Well, we mentioned at the top of the show, Glavine has not had great success at Busch Stadium. 8 starts. He only got to the 5th inning 4 times. If he continues at this pace, he might not get to the 5th inning today.
I used to kid Gene Gieselman about spraying that ethyl chloride on players when they got hit. Well, if you get hit on the derriere, that's one place you can't spray.
2 on, 2 out. Glavine didn't hit a batter all year. And he hits Mabry here in the first inning. Strike 1 to Pagnazzi, who could make it a very big first inning for St. Louis. 263 during the postseason, 2 out of 8 in this series. Gaetti and Mabry aboard. And the 0-1 to Pagnozzi. Good pitch, strike 2.
That pitch was actually right down the heart of the plate, but the way Pagnozzi reacted, you would have thought it was way inside. I think mentally Pagnozzi is looking at the center of the plate being the outside corner.
Yeah.
Glavine has him 0-2. Now he goes outside, ball 1.
Well, if you're a right-handed batter, you have to give him that pitch inside. You cannot protect both sides of the plate.
And one thing a lot of people forget, Tom Glavine, is he can rush it up there in the low 90s on occasion. That fastball inside gets up there very quickly.
Trying to go the other way, and the count stays 1-2.
You may make an out, but if your approach is right when you're hitting, then you've had a good day or a good night or a good game. And so far, the Cardinals are taking a very intelligent approach against Glavine.
2 runs home, 2 on, 2 out, first inning. To the right side, right at McGriff, and a long first inning for Glavine is over. Braves got 1. Gant and the Cardinals get 2. After 1 in St. Louis, game 3, 2-1. Top of the second inning, a long first for both the Braves and Cardinals. Braves left 2, Cardinals left 2. Gant got Glavine, and the Cardinals are out in front 2-1. We go to the second, and Donovan Osborne back to work, and you would imagine maybe the butterflies have settled down for Donovan a little bit. Not only does he only give up the 1 run in the first inning, but then Osborne's teammates come back and give him a lead. See how he does here in the second inning with Jones, Blauser, and Glavine, the bottom 3 in the Atlanta lineup. Here's ball 1 to Andrew Jones, the 19-year-old who started this season in single-A baseball, making his first postseason start. 1-1.
Make a movie about this at bat. You may entitle it Butterflies Are Freeze with Donovan Osborne and Andrew Jones. Good curveball by Osborne.
Bob, it was the curveball that Donovan went to get out of the first inning on that line drive hit by Dye.
Which I think showed how much confidence he has in that pitch after bouncing one to the backstop to allow the runners to advance. He goes right back to it. Comes back to it again here to Andrew Jones. That's his bread and butter pitch.
And it's up to a catcher to try to bring that pitch along if he's missing early in the game.
Out in front, struck him out, and that's the first strikeout for Osborne.
Well, I think what we see here is a young pitcher on the mound that takes advantage of a guy at the plate that's even a little younger. Throws a very good changeup. Jones trying to be aggressive and protect that plate with 2 strikes way out in front.
Now the number 8 hitter, Blauser. He shoots one into right center field. Jordan over to get it. 2 out.
Hey, we talked about the shadow, and for a couple of innings, how difficult it is at the plate. But look at a right fielder and what he has to cope with out there. I mean, it's conceivable that Brian Jordan right there, in order to field a fly ball, would go from the shadows to the sun, back into the shadows. Got the glasses on his cap right now. But I mean, conceivably, it could, if he's in the sun, I mean, that sun could be in his eyes.
Now that's going to be some serious juggling act. He goes from the shade, he goes to the sunlight, he reaches up, pulls the glasses off his head, puts them on. 2 more steps, he's back in the shade, takes them off, puts them back on his head.
Well, it depends on how high the fly is.
He's quick.
I don't know if he's that quick.
Here's Glavine. 1 ball, 1 strike from Donovan Osborne.
You know, another thing you have to consider is the background. Look what he's looking into. Very bright sunlight in the stands on the third base side of the field. Shade on the first base side of the field. So Ron Gant is looking at a dark background, while Brian Jordan is looking at a very bright sunlit background, as well as the shadows they have to deal with as the ball comes their way.
This almost makes me want to paint. I don't know why. I've never painted anything in my life. Glavine, a .289 hitter during the regular season. The count stays 1-2.
I got a garage. You could use a new coat of paint if you really want to get into it.
I'm talking broad Dugan painting. Watercolor work. 2 out, nobody on here in the second inning. Glavine strikes out. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Osborne after an inning and a half in St. Louis. 2-1 Cardinals.
Fox Sports coverage of Major League Baseball's National League Championship Series is brought to you by Nissan, who reminds you that life is a journey. Enjoy the ride. By Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. By Wrangler, real, comfortable jeans. And by Zantac 75, the final word in acid relief.
There's the arch, downtown St. Louis. We're at Busch Stadium where the Cardinals lead 2-1.
You know, I always thought the state of Illinois, just as a little barb to the state of Missouri, should build a great big tall croquet player on the other side of the river. Bermuda shorts and black socks and sandals and holding a croquet mallet.
Here's Gallego leading it off. .210 hitter during the regular season. 1 out of 5 that one hit. Started the 5-run rally off Maddox in the 7th inning in game 2. An easy comebacker and an easy out here in the second inning. There is Stan the Man Musial. He was a fixture in the Cardinals teams from 1941 to 1963. Won 7 batting titles, led the Cards to 4 World Series, putting back-to-back appearances from 1942 to 1944. Inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1969.
Hey, good, Joe. That was good. Yeah, Stan the Man, number 6. That was good, Joe. Good.
That is frightening how well you do that. If you know Stan Musial.
One of the dearest people I've ever met. Unbelievable popularity here in the St. Louis area. Everywhere, as a matter of fact. Stan had that famous line, if the ball's down, you hit the bottom part of the ball. If it's at the waist, you hit the middle of the ball. If it's high, you hit the top of the ball. Right, Stan, huh? See, that easy, huh?
1-2 on Donovan Osborne. He is so involved here in St. Louis on a day-to-day basis with charities, with the Cardinals. He's almost a member of the new ownership group here in St. Louis. Osborne can handle the bat a little bit. The count stays 1-2.
He's got a great nickname. I know that. They don't hang the man on too many people.
No. Stan Musial received that nickname in Brooklyn. Ebbets Field, a park in which he hit over 400 lifetime. Here comes that man again.
2 balls, 2 strikes on that guy, Osborne. Gallego, a comebacker to start the inning. Osborne strikes out looking 2 away here in the second, and you can tell already Glavine more dialed in after that long 2-run first inning for St. Louis.
Lopez once again on the outside corner. You know, Glavine has got the numbers that he has in postseason for a reason. He's able to regroup, get his concentration back, and go out there and continue to do the things that he does. It'll be interesting to see as we start over again a second time in the Cardinals order if the adjustment that Glavine makes is counter-adjusted by the Cardinals hitters. Timmy, you mentioned they had a great approach the first time through the order.
And but see the way he's regrouped, he's done it against the bottom of the order. That's what veteran pitchers do.
Here's Clayton, who started the first inning with a base hit to center, and he takes a strike in at the knees. So Clayton in this series is 3 out of 5. Did not start game 1. Ozzie Smith made the start. With Royce Clayton at the plate. Good time to look at his outfield hits by direction. Already seen 1 hit to center here today. He has more hits to right than he does pulling the ball to the left side of the field.
He had 2 to right field on Thursday night.
Took a pitch up and away into center his first time. That one's up and away. The count 1-2.
Clayton, early in his career with the San Francisco Giants, he has surprising power. He can hit the ball out of the ballpark if you make a mistake. And unfortunately, like a lot of young guys who hit some home runs early in their career, suddenly he thought he was supposed to be a pull hitter and hit the ball out of the park. It's been an amazing adjustment he's made here with St. Louis.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Not only adjusting that way, but also adjusting, Bob, to the leadoff role. Something he did not do with the Giants.
And as you brought up the other night so well, Joe, adjusting to the Ozzie Smith situation, too.
2 out, nobody on here in the 2nd inning. Glavine looking for a perfect inning. Now 3-2 on Clayton. Ozzie Smith introduced before the game. He'll make a start, you can bet, before the end of this NLCS. His last year in a major league uniform, his number already has been retired. It's a good sign when they retire your number you're still wearing. Still 3-2.
Big difference in having your number retired and having a team getting tired of your number.
There you have it. Maybe Fox will feature Ozzie excitement later on today as a pinch hitter. Clayton stays alive as Lopez couldn't hang on. Atlanta Braves this season in Busch Stadium were 6-0. Cardinals took 4 out of the 7 games played in Atlanta. Of course, starting this postseason series 1-1 down at Fulton County. Still 3-2 on Clayton. Good at bat. Well, how has the sun progressed? Tracking its way across the infield and outfield here at Busch Stadium.
Great ball of fire moving across sky.
3-2 pitch to Clayton. He's battling Glavine here in the 2nd.
It's a great Jerry Lee Lewis line, right?
Goodness gracious.
Of course, the Busch Stadium sundial, which will be twisting and turning the rest of the afternoon. It's been a 10-pitch at bat for Glavine and Clayton here in the 2nd. And we will have number 11 coming up. Tony La Russa said before the start of this series, we think we can find ways to beat them 4 games. They've done it once. Clayton grounds to Blauser on a good changeup. Jeff can't make the play. The ball gets away, and Clayton gets down to 2nd. Then an unnecessary throw by Jermaine Dye. And we'll wait to see how they rule it. Likely a hit and an error.
It was unnecessary, but Clayton had rounded 2nd. Jermaine Dye saw that. He had his head down. Fine play by Blauser to come up with it. The quick throw, however, into the runner. McGriff thought he had it. He looked at his glove and realized that Clayton had kicked it down the right field line.
And part of the key to this play is the fact that Clayton is leaning out of that right-handed batter's box as he makes contact with the ball. Actually got a great jump out of the box to get down that line. Blauser hurries the throw a little, gets it into the runner. And a chance to score a run here with 2 outs in the inning.
It is a base hit and an error. Charge the error to Blauser, who committed 23 during the regular season. And for Clayton, that is 4 hits and 6 at-bats in this series.
Clayton was fooled by that changeup from Tom Glavine. A bad pitch out of the strike zone, but was leaning towards first base as he made contact. Got a good jump out of the box.
Off the plate, high hop Lemke. Inning over. And Langford now 1 out of 11 in the postseason. Cardinals strand a runner. We'll be back to Busch after this from your local Fox station.
Fox, home of
Top of the 3rd inning here in St. Louis. Cardinals out in front 2-1. Go back to that infield hit by Clayton.
Well, here you see Clayton is already leaning out of the batter's box as he makes contact, and very nearly a collision here at first base. You can hear Dave McKay, the first base coach, telling him to go, 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 just in case Clayton didn't pick up that overthrow.
Now Donovan Osborne will deal with the top of the Atlanta lineup. Grissom, Lemke, and Jones. Braves trailing by 1, third inning. That's foul. And a 1-1 count. Marquise got on with a hit back in the first inning. Was running on a ground out by Lemke. Reached third on a wild pitch by Osborne and scored on a sac fly by Chipper Jones. Will that stay in play for Pagnozzi? No.
You can reach into the stands and make catches. You can also reach from the stands onto the playing field and make catches, as Jeffrey Mayer, the young 12-year-old, did at Yankee Stadium against the Orioles. Tom Pagnozzi, that ball just out of reach. Nice try.
Gets a quick peek down at that railing to find out where he is. Knows about how many steps he's got to go before he's going to make contact. Leans in as far as he can, but can't make the play. And a good hustle job there by Bob Davidson to get over on the play and make sure he could see what was happening over there in the front row of seats.
Little delay as Cardinal trainer Gene Gieselman heads into the seats to check on Kathy Hanser, wife of Fred Hanser, one of the owners with the Cardinals. Ball came down and hit Kathy Hanser somewhere on the head or neck area, and that has the attention of everybody behind home plate right now. One and two, the count on Grissom, leading it off, third inning. Had him reaching, struck him out. And the first out here in the third strikeout for Osborne.
That was a changeup from Osborne, and had Grissom made contact, this exemplifies Bob Brentley's point once again. You see how his momentum takes him toward first base. Watch after the swing. Watch Grissom's feet.
5 in a row retired by Donovan Osborne. There's that good curveball. And strike one on Lemke.
You're naturally reaching out to try to get this off-speed pitch. The upper part of your body pulls you towards first base as you take that swing, and that's the same swing that Royce Clayton took on the changeup, but he put his in play.
It's interesting to note that when a right-handed batter is jammed, when the ball is inside and he hits a ball to the left side of the infield, he doesn't get a good jump out of the box.
Gant can't make the play, and Lemke is on with one out here in the third inning. Ruled a base hit for Lemke, and that's his third hit of this series.
Lemke's a little more of a pull hitter from the right side of the plate. It appears, once again, you see the shadows, you see the light there, and Gant just never appeared to get a beat on that ball. It actually hits him in the leg. He doesn't get any leather on it at all.
I think it really affected him then. I think the shadow, the ball coming out of the shadow into the sun, affected Gant's vision.
A look at it now as it approaches Gant in the left side of the infield. And now 1 on, 1 out for Chipper Jones. He could put the Braves on top with one swing. Looks at strike one on a borderline pitch up and away. Gant committed only 10 errors during the regular season. Played very well at third. Lemke aboard with one out here in the third. And with Chipper Jones up now, McGriff on deck. Braves trying to get something cranked up here in the third. Quickly an 0-2 count on Jones.
That's what happens when you're looking away. You remember his first time up, he hit the changeup the other way for a sac fly to drive in the only Brave run. When you're looking away and you get the fastball inside, it shocks you. There's shock effect.
And that's a tough strike to take when you don't even get a good swing at it. Just a little check swing trying to get out of the way, and the ball actually hits the bat.
Instead of the other way around.
Instead of the other way around, puts you in a hole 0-2.
1 on, 1 out for Chipper Jones, an 0-2 count. Ball one. Chipper had a 4-hit night in the opener of this LCS. Then was hitless and was removed late in the game in game 2. Has a sac fly here this afternoon. And has a 2-2 count with 1 on 1 out in the 3rd.
And you can see Chipper Jones wearing one of the ankle guards on that left foot where he fouled that ball off his heel. He miscorrectly thought it hit him on the instep, but indeed it did hit him in the heel, which if you have to be hit in that area, the heel is probably the best place. But wearing that ankle guard nonetheless.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
There you see with the little extension that reaches down there and covers that left heel.
Two pitch. Jones pops it up. Clayton out in the sun. Wants it. Has it. 2 gone. Tomorrow it's a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader when the Cardinals battle the Cowboys. On the way, Michael Irvin back in the lineup for Dallas. The Eagles battle the Giants in 2 key NFL East matchups. Plus other exciting regional action. It all begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Check local listings for the game and time in your area.
Interesting, the St. Louis football Cardinals used to play right here at Busch Stadium.
Now it's the St. Louis Rams. They play in the Dome down the street.
I know the St. Louis baseball Cardinals are very happy not to have a football team tearing up this turf late in the season.
1 on, 2 out for McGriff. It's starting to become a concern for Atlanta with McGriff. 0 for 7 in this series. No home runs, no RBIs, and only 3 hits in the postseason. The Braves have to have McGriff hitting and driving in runs to win.
Think about
1 strike.
Joe, think about the uphill battle that Fred has. Consider this. Since July 26th, left-handed batters have 1 RBI against Donovan Osborne. That was Henry Rodriguez of the Montreal Expos.
Check on Lemke, who has a very short lead. And when you talk about shadows, look at first base. Mabry's standing in the bright sunlight. The ball from Donovan Osborne shooting through the shade and then into the sunlight. That can't be easy either. One on, 2 out, and a 1-1 count on McGriff.
As a matter of fact, in the 1963 World Series, Game 4, Joe Pepitone, playing first for the New York Yankees, lost a ball in the sun on a pickoff play at Dodger Stadium. And that led to the Yankees being swept by the Dodgers.
Osborne paying close attention to Lemke. He's at first with 2 out, and the 1-1 to McGriff. Caught the outside corner, strike 2.
Fred just looks like he's caught in between right now a little bit. Normally he's a very good fastball hitter and a good mistake breaking ball hitter, but he doesn't really have a good approach on anything right now. He's behind the fastballs. He's looking at the breaking balls. Sure, it's very frustrating not only for him but for Clarence Jones, the hitting coach, and the entire Braves team. They like to see Freddie get going.
Now a 1-2 pitch coming to McGriff. Stepped up in the box and grounds to second. Easy play, Gallego. Braves get a hit, lead their 3rd, and after 2.5 in St. Louis, Cardinals out in front 2-1.
Thing, but one of the most effective ways of getting hitters out is to use both sides of the plate. Slider away, fastball inside. Osborne ends the inning as he jams McGriff.
It seemed like McGriff tried to make an adjustment to that slider away. It looked like he creeped up on the plate a little bit closer, and then Osborne comes in with the hard fastball and jammed him.
Here's Gant leading it off. He homered his first time. That's strike 1. Gant took a 3-1 pitch deep into the seats in left center field. What a postseason. 8 out of 20. Couple of home runs, 7 RBIs. After last year in the LCS hitting a $180.
against the same Atlanta pitching staff as the Reds were swept by 4.
Ball and a strike on Gant, who back in the first inning took a 3-1 pitch. Cripple pitch from Glavine, and Gant knew what to do with it. That barely missed. Down and in. And the count 2 balls and a strike.
Interesting, Davey Johnson, the manager of the Cincinnati Reds last year, now the manager of the Baltimore Orioles this year. Joe Torre, the manager of the Cardinals, the manager of the Yankees. Tony La Russa, on the other hand, the manager of the Athletics, and he's the manager of the Cardinals. So 3 of the last 4 teams remaining alive in baseball have had managers not only with different teams but in different leagues.
Coincidence? 1 out. And for Glavine, only his 2nd strikeout so far.
Glavine gets Gant to chase a fastball well up out of the strike zone. Ronnie Gant is a dead fastball hitter. And good fastball hitters that look for that pitch a lot of times will chase it out of the zone. That time, Glavine got him to chase a high one.
Yeah, you talk about managers shifting cities. Joe Torre here in St. Louis last year, fired midway through the season. He seems to be a better fit for what's going on in New York. He is the perfect man for that job, and he has had an unbelievable season in the Bronx.
And Tony La Russa seems to be now, especially since the second half of the season, the best fit for the Cardinals.
We talk about that happening with players all the time.
Sure.
A guy will be with an organization and just can't seem to find his niche. He can't seem to find where he fits in. Goes to a new ball club, feels more comfortable, and suddenly his career takes off.
1-1 to Jordan. 2 balls and a strike. Cardinal hitters still staying very patient at the plate. It's been a long afternoon already for Glavine. Gant struck out. Jordan grounds to Lemke. To his left, 2 out. So the bases are empty for Gary Gaetti. We're not even through 3 innings here, Bob, and Glavine has already thrown 65 pitches.
I'm sure that's going to get to be a concern, because throughout the regular season, when Glavine got up around the 90 to 100 pitch mark, the opponent's batting average jumped well over 300 against him for the remainder of the ball game. So that's something that Leo Mazzoni and Bobby Cox are going to really have to keep an eye on.
3rd time through the lineup, Glavine has problems.
Gaetti stands in, singled his first time up. The scouting report on Gary.
That second one's the one you ought to concentrate on. This guy's a very smart hitter.
Some batters will go to the plate and look fastball the entire day. Some guys will go look breaking ball the entire day. But Gaetti guesses with situation, tries to get into that pitcher's head.
Look at his last at bat. 1-2 pitch. He hit the other way on a fastball tailing away. That's after hitting a grand slam against Greg Maddux on Thursday night.
2 out, nobody on. 0-2 pitch, and the inning is over. So a quick and easy inning for Glavine. He needed that. He struck out 3, and after 3, St. Louis out in front 2-1.
Critics are calling the
Hot cholesterol. Get your cholesterol. Little light snack.
Those of you with a nitrate shortage.
Wow. 4th inning, 2-1. The Cardinals out in front. Javier Lopez will lead it off. What does he do? Outfield hits by direction. We'll see if they play him to pull a bit. Gant rather deep in left. He's already pulled one in this game into left center field over the head of Gant for a double back in the 1st inning. Very good hitter, takes a strike over the inside corner.
I think Lopez is the most dominant pull hitter on either side. I mean, those hits go to left. Those are on balls that he's fooled. He hits off the end of the bat. But this guy is a pull hitter.
He's had a very good postseason at the plate. Behind the plate for Atlanta, a very costly wild pitch he did not get down on in the Maddox game. Grounds to third. Gaetti the high hop, one away. Well, you nailed it, Tim, at the beginning of the game after talking to Tony La Russa. He talked about having an early read on Donovan Osborne. He struggled in the first inning. Since then, he has really been dominant except for the infield hit off the bat of Lemke.
Yeah, Tony said two things: that Osborne may be excitable, very emotional, and he's hopeful that the Cardinals can score early to allow him to relax. And what happens? A two-run homer by Gant in the bottom of the first. So far, this game is going according to Tony La Russa's plans today.
Die way out in front, strike two.
You can see the difference with Osborne's curveball as this game has progressed. He was having trouble in the first inning, bouncing them out in front of home plate, hanging a few in the strike zone. Very good slow curve right there.
Got him over the inside corner, 2 out. And 4 strikeouts for Osborne.
Osborne showing Jermaine Dye everything in his arsenal and finishing him off with the inside fastball. When those arms go up and rear end goes out, a hitter almost always is called out.
Even though that pitch clearly looked inside.
Yeah.
Here's Andrew Jones. He takes a borderline pitch for ball 1. Andrew, a strikeout and his only postseason at bat back in the second. Talked about his journey from single-A ball to the big leagues. Started out red hot. In fact, hit 2 home runs in one game, August 22nd against Cincinnati. But really finished in a slump. Tests Clayton in the hole. Good play in a 1-2-3 inning for Donovan Osborne. Cardinals rolling right through the first 4. They bat bottom of the 4th inning, leading the world champions 2-1.
First came Tagamet.
To the bottom of the 4th inning here in St. Louis. Cardinals bat out in front by 1. Mitsubishi Motors championship update. St. Louis Cardinals have won their last 7 postseason games here at Busch Stadium. So they have the longest active winning streak at home in the postseason. The Braves had one reach 8. That was snapped with a loss on Thursday night, tying the Yankees mark. Here's Mabry. He looks at a ball. It'll be Mabry, Pagnazzi, Gallego for Tom Glavine, who had his first 1-2-3 inning in the 3rd. Caught the corner, 1 ball, 1 strike.
How many hitters do you see nowadays with flesh to wood? John Mabry does not wear a batting glove. Almost all hitters nowadays wear 1 or 2.
That caught the corner, according to Bob Davidson, and the count 1-2.
Yeah, one guy that jumps to mind is Cubs first baseman Mark Grace. As you see the replay of that last pitch, it got the corner of the right-handed batter's box.
So Mabry checking his swing, able to hold up in the count 2-2. Yeah, you can applaud him for going flesh to wood with the bat, but I think that might be those peel-on eye blacks. I don't think that's real eye black. It's just too perfectly done.
I don't like that stuff.
Overrated. Off the end of the bat, trouble. Lead-off base hit.
You know, a lot of people will say, well, that was a broken bat base hit. It was a lucky hit. I don't think hits like that are lucky, because if John Mabry doesn't have this approach, he doesn't get that type of hit. Protecting outside with 2 strikes. If you do the right things during an at-bat, a lot of good things happen. Watch his front shoulder. Stays into the last minute, hits it off the end of the bat, dumps one in front of Andrew Jones, but good hitting and a good approach by Mabry.
So the leadoff man on for St. Louis, the batter Pagnazzi. 1 on, nobody out, and ball 1. We showed you Kathy Hanser, wife of Fred Hanser, was hit on that foul ball a couple of innings ago. Word is at one point lost consciousness. Now she's fully conscious at Jewish Hospital here in St. Louis for observation, but she's fine. So that's good news. 1 ball, 1 strike on Pagnazzi.
You would think sometime during this at bat, Tony La Russa would put a hit and run on. You have the bottom of the order up. It's not as productive as the front part of the order. You have a tendency to run more with the last 4 guys than you do with the first 4 guys. Pagnozzi hits the ball the other way very well.
Mabry stays put. There's a pitch over the outside corner for strike 2.
And with Tommy Glavine consistently pitching on the outside part of the plate, that would seem to play right into Tony La Russa's hands to put on a hit and run here and shoot the ball through that big hole on the right side of the infield.
Kind of negated now because it's 2 strikes on Pagnozzi.
Glavine trying to get around a leadoff blue pit by Mabry.
But before the timeout call, Lopez had called for a fastball inside on Pagnozzi. Let's see if they go back to it here.
Changeup.
Changed his mind. Went to the changeup.
1-2. Got it. 1 away, and the 4th strikeout for Glavine. And again, consistently pounding that outside corner with the changeup. 1 out here in the 4th.
There you see it. Just ball starts on the outside part of the plate and just fades away. Just enough off speed that Pagnozzi's well out in front. There you see Lopez splitting that outside corner, maybe even a little further than halfway out on that outside corner.
Yeah, the one thing you don't want to do, and we've talked about Lopez before, you don't want to set up too early. You try to set up when the ball is on the way as opposed to when the pitcher is in the stretch. That was interesting. A fist there, and that was to throw to first base.
He flipped his thumb out just a little bit. That's apparently the sign the Braves use to have the pitcher make a throw to first base.
That used to be the knockdown pitch. Flipping the thumb.
One on, 1 out. Up the middle to Glavine. 1-6-3. Inning over. Leadoff hit erased by the Atlanta left-hander. After 4 in St. Louis. Packed house. Cardinals out in front by 1.
Nelson.
There's Lou Brock.
Lewis Clark Brock. Hall of Famer. Could flat play. Tough. Coming to the St. Louis Cardinals on June 15th, 1964. The 2 primary players, Ernie Broglio, a right-handed pitcher, and Lou Brock. And without Lou Brock, we would not, and I can say we because I was on that team, we would not have beaten the Yankees, nor would we have won the pennant when the Phillies folded at the last 2 weeks of the season.
Sitting alongside Leonard Coleman.
Lou Brock steals a lot of bases. That guy stole his popcorn. You see that?
Well, that's the first thing. Usually it's the other way around. Lou stealing bases, and now they're paying him back. Somebody stole his popcorn. What's going on? There's Leonard Coleman to the right of Lou. Leonard, the National League president.
He's eating Lou's popcorn.
What's going on here? Pilfering of the popcorn.
I don't think Lou knows yet. 1-2 is the count on the number 8 hitter Blauser, with Glavine to follow and then Grissom. Over the inside corner, and that plate is getting wider and wider as we go.
Well, especially the left side of the plate. Remember the last inning? Bob Davidson calling out Jermaine Dye. The first strike to Mabry off the plate, and now this one to Blauser. I'll tell you, that is a close pitch. Sometimes a catcher will catch the ball inside, and the ball will actually come over the front corner of the plate.
So Blauser the first out, the 5th strikeout victim for Osborne, and here's the pitcher Glavine. That caught the outside corner for strike 1. Osborne has retired 11 of the last 12 hitters he has faced. Donovan Osborne pitched game 3 at San Diego when the Cardinals completed their sweep over the Padres, lasting only 4 innings, allowing 4 runs on 7 hits. That because he missed his last regular season start because he ripped up his thumb, cut his thumb The celebration in Pittsburgh on a champagne bottle when the Cardinals wrapped up the NL Central. That's 12 of the last 13. Glavine the second out here in the 5th inning. Tomorrow it's game 4 of the National League Championship Series when Fred McGriff, defending champion Braves, battle Brian Jordan of the Cardinals. The road to the World Series on Fox continues 7 Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Someone asked Donovan Osborne about his season. He said, well, let's put it in a sentence. I was hit by a car. I was thrown in jail, sprained my ankle during spring training, and I cut my finger on a champagne bottle.
So things have to get better for Donovan Osborne in the postseason.
13-game winner, tying his career high, set at 92 as a rookie. Strike one on Marquise Grissom, 1 out of 2. With a home run in the postseason, which came against the Cardinals. He has hit 7 home runs against St. Louis pitching. Osborne gave up 22 during the regular season. Two out, nothing doing for the Braves in the 5th so far. 1 ball, 1 strike. Clayton can't get to it. Another base hit for Grissom, his 2nd of the day. So Marquise is on, and that extends the inning for Lemke.
Very sharply hit ball here. A changeup. Grissom out in front of it, hits a bullet in the hole. Clayton, even with the dive, can't get there in time. That ball was by him by the time his glove got down to the ground. That ball was hit very hard there by Marquise Grissom.
You know, when you talk about pitching, Tony La Russa believes his edge, his advantage in this series will come after today's game, because he is going to bring Andy Bennis back for tomorrow's game. Then he will bring Todd Stottlemyre back. Each threw less than 100 pitches in their first starts of this series. Here's Andy.
Andy throwing 88 pitches. Todd Stottlemyre throwing 97. Tony's saying had Andy Bennis thrown 125 pitches, he still would have been the pitcher tomorrow. Had Todd Stottlemyre thrown 125 pitches, he would not have been the pitcher in Game 5.
Sitting alongside Dave Duncan with an eye on tomorrow and an eye on Donovan Osborne. 1 ball, 1 strike.
The Braves, on the other hand, go ahead, Bob.
I was just going to say that Andy Bennis was just flat overpowering in Game 1. He was really throwing the ball well.
Let's say Bobby Cox will bring back Denny Nagel tomorrow. He worked 1 inning on Thursday night. The left-hander will be the starter against St. Louis tomorrow. Then it'll be Smoltz on Monday night.
Snap throw to first, and Grissom back in time.
Well, that's a move that a lot of left-handers are using more and more nowadays. In the past, it used to be that very crafty, stylish, high leg kick, delay at the top. Steve Carlton used to do that. I know you know that, Timmy.
Yeah.
But that snap throw from lefties is devastating.
Drop low, 2 balls and a strike on Lemke with Chipper Jones waiting on deck.
Guy who uses that move the most effectively that I've ever seen, Terry Mulholland of the Seattle Mariners.
Only 4 stolen bases allowed during the regular season on Donovan Osborne. Only 14 attempts. Grissom stays put. Lemke takes ball 3. A 2-out hit by Grissom. Now 3-1 on Lemke, and you got to figure he'll get a pitch to hammer here.
A lot of managers like to run in this count. 2 outs, 3-1. To me, I think this is a hitter's count, and the runner at first base should be quiet.
Not going. Ball 4, and it's 2 on, 2 out with Chipper Jones coming up for Atlanta.
The reason I say that it is not a running count is that a hitter will be distracted, particularly a right-handed batter, will be distracted by a runner running on a 3-1 count and possibly swing at a ball that he would not otherwise have swung at. That's an arguable point, one that I agree with.
Here's Chipper Jones. He has a chance to put Atlanta back on top. He drove in the first run with a sac fly into right. And here is his hit zone.
Looks a lot like Ronnie Gant's hit zone.
Yeah.
Although Chipper Jones is not strictly a pull hitter.
That'll get out of play for strike one.
As that swing indicated. Matter of fact, from the left side, Chipper Jones' best power is to left center field. More of a pull hitter, I think, as a right-handed batter than a left-handed batter.
You can see from his approach, he cheats a little bit to the ball in. That front foot opens up a little bit. The front shoulder opens up a little bit. And if he gets a pitch from the middle in, he can drive it hard to left field. He doesn't drive the ball to right field as much from this side of the plate.
2 on, 2 out for Atlanta. And a 1-1 count on Jones. McGriff on deck. 1-1 to Chipper. To the left side, Gaetti will throw across, standing over. Osborne allows a 2-out hit, then a walk. Gets away with it halfway through it. 2-1, St. Louis. Inning, 2-1. The Cardinals out in front. McCarver 0 for 1 on foul balls. I am 0 for 1. Brenly was chastising us for getting out of the way of foul balls 2 nights ago.
But no more.
We're ready tonight.
We're ready.
We came early
prepared,
today,
folks.
Took infield practice. We're ready to go. Bring it on.
Donovan Osborne leads it off, takes a strike. How come I'm in the booth with 2 ex-Major League catchers and I get a glove that is
That's not
harder
broken
than the
in.
table? My scorebook is rusty.
Use it as a shield. Don't worry about catching.
Good point. Donovan Osborne, his first time up, struck out. You got to give that back to Jordan.
Michael or Brian?
Brian. Strike 2 on Osborne.
Well, you know, like a lot of people who haven't played the game, you just grabbed the biggest glove that came to the booth. That was not our fault.
Okay, I'm the non-athlete. Over the outside corner, a strikeout. And the 5th of the afternoon for Tom Glavine. I am the announcer, boy, so I will say tonight, would you trust a man with a loaded gun? Al Bundy is joining the elite forces of the Chicago PD, and law enforcement will never be the same. Catch an all-new Married with Children tonight at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on Fox. Okay, Brenly's already dropped it on me.
Drop the hammer time.
For a guy who's never played the game before. Strike 1 on Clayton. I got high school teammates crying out around the area. They know differently.
You don't really want us to get the real story, do you?
No, you don't.
I didn't think so.
No, don't go into that. Clayton has had 2 hits, 4 hits in this series with Atlanta. Glavine painting the outside corner in the count 0-2. '85th pitch of the afternoon coming up here for Glavine. Staying stubborn, staying outside, 1-2.
Talked about it early in the game. That's one of Glavine's things that he continues to remind himself. Stay stubborn.
Down the right field foul line and foul.
See, when you stay stubborn, you know what got you there, and he's not going to do anything differently.
That first inning. Cardinals got 2 runs, then had 2 on. Glavine able to get out of it on a soft liner off the bat of Pagnozzi. 2-2 on Clayton.
We talk about a pitcher having good control. When you're talking about the lower levels, high school ball or college ball or little league or whatever, that means he throws the ball in the strike zone. But at this level, a pitcher that has good control can throw the ball out of the strike zone whenever he wants.
Still 2-2.
That's what's made Glavine so successful. We've talked about it all day long, being stubborn. tough around the strike zone, but not necessarily in the strike zone.
Yeah, good control is throwing the ball where you want to throw it, not necessarily over the heart of the plate. As a matter of fact, too many pitchers, this one's up and in. You can see Lopez get the fastball in and then kind of motion up. Gave a high target. But some young pitchers get confused, and on 0-2 and 1-2 counts, throw balls right down the heart of the plate. You can be wild in the strike zone and wild out of the strike zone.
2-2. Another good at bat by Clayton. And now of the 90 pitches that Glavine has thrown, Clayton has seen 23 of them.
Wow.
2 very long at bats his last 2 times up, and now another person has been hit down by the Cardinal dugout. You know, as more and more ballparks, Tim and Bob, start adding these luxury seats closer to the field, it becomes more and more dangerous to sit anywhere near those seats. Now here's a guard down in front of the photographer's well. That line drive hit him, glanced off his head, it looked like.
See, a left-handed batter would never hit a ball over here. Only right-handed batters. The same is true for the third baseline. Left-handers are the only ones who would hit balls over there. Looked like it caught him in the shoulder or the head.
Still a 2-2 count on Clayton. Into left center field, pretty well hit. Andrew Jones back to get it, 2 out. You know, we've talked about this time and time again this season. They talk about a juiced ball. They talk about the ball traveling further and all the home runs hit and what have you. But when you see a swing like that and the ball carry as far as it did off the bat of Clayton, it is difficult to make the claim that the baseballs are the same as they always have been. Ray Langford at the plate, 2 out, nobody on.
Saw enough opposite field home runs hit over 400 feet this year by guys that normally can't pull a ball 400 feet to make me believe that there was something going on with that little white ball this year.
I'm not too sure I agree with y'all on this.
Not to say that it's been done intentionally, but they've changed the plant where they make the baseballs from Haiti to Costa Rica. There's no possible way you can make the baseballs the exact same way as they did in Haiti as they do now in Costa Rica. Something a lot of people believe has changed, whether intentional or unintentional. 2-0 on Langford, now 2-1.
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think it's the weightlifting that guys are doing, the condition that they're in. I think it's the incredibly shrinking strike zone.
2-2 on Langford.
High strikes are not called anymore. I think that imaginary box that used to be about right here to a hitter, I'm talking about height, let's change that to about right here. I think that has shrunk.
Langford grounds out, hitless in this series. Cardinals go in order in the 5th. Braves have to get to work. 6th inning, they trail here in St. Louis, 2-1. Beautiful day in St. Louis. We get ready for the top of the 6th inning. Donovan Osborne has been in control. There's Skip Carey on your left, Jack Buck on your right. Chip's dad and Joe's dad. What a terrible way to go through life.
Well, seriously, and you know, these guys, you talk about 2 guys who are proud as peacocks. Jack Buck and Skip Carey.
All those years of traveling around in that van, going over baseball play-by-play tapes. Paid off. 1 ball, 1 strike on McGriff. Fred 0 for 1 today with a ground out and a walk. 0 for 8 in this series with no run production whatsoever. No homers, no RBIs.
We saw him check his swing there on a slider away from Donovan Osborne. He's still up there in some kind of a funk, just having all kinds of troubles right now.
I think you hit it on the head. His last at bat, Bob, you said he was caught in between, and that's the worst thing that can happen to a hitter. Of all of the funks that you get in, being caught in between's the worst.
The McGriff first up here in the 6th inning. Donovan Osborne has struck out 5. Make it 6. Okay, so you say a guy's caught in between. For those of us who haven't played the game of baseball friendly, what does that mean?
What that means is normally Freddie McGriff is a very good fastball hitter. You see here a breaking ball out of the strike zone, low and away. A check swing on almost the same pitch. A good fastball, had a good cut at it, and it just gets locked up with another fastball. That is a pitch that Freddie McGriff would normally come out of his shoes swinging at, but he's obviously trying to either guess along with Osborne, guess along with Pagnozzi, or he's just got a lot of uncertainty in his head right now in his approach.
So McGriff, the first out, 6 strikeouts for Osborne and Javier Lopez. A 1-ball, 1-strike count. Javier doubled his first time up.
It's easy to say how to get out of that funk. You know, it's easy to say. It's tough to do.
Yeah.
It's easy to sit up here and say, well, he needs to get back on the fastball. You know, if you get a fastball, let it fly. Forget about the breaking ball for a couple of at-bats. Get back on the fastball, and then you'll get back into your rhythm. But it's a lot tougher to do when you're standing out there 60 feet away from that pitcher.
Usually, when a hitter is caught in that particular type of slump, what he will say is, I'm not seeing the ball well. He's not picking the ball up, regardless of who's pitching out there. And that appears to be the case, the added case to Fred McGriff. It's almost one of those sayings, Clarence Jones, the hitting instructor of the Braves, it's one of those sayings that goes along with that particular type of slump.
Javi Lopez, meanwhile, is sitting on a 3-1 pitch. 1 out here in the 6th inning. St. Louis out in front of Atlanta, 2-1. Line drive, base hit into left center off the bat of Lopez, and he's on base for the 2nd time today. So Lopez on here in the 6th inning. Terry Pendleton just off the dugout, hitting off a tee. That is just off the Braves dugout. A new addition here at Busch Stadium, where hitters riding the bench can get a couple of swings in during the game.
And that really makes a big difference. You know, it's not the same thing as seeing a pitch, but at least you get your muscles loose, you get your body loose.
1 on, 1 out here for Jermaine Dye. He shoots one to right. Jordan there, 2 out. So while McGriff is struggling, now 0 for 9, Jermaine Dye is 0 for 11.
Well, Dye has hit a couple balls on the button today, lined out to Royce Clayton early in the ball game. Hits this ball well to right field. Good approach, drives the ball, but a lot of guys have tried to hit balls in the gap against the Cardinals, and those gaps close up in a hurry.
Remember, as Joe said earlier, the Atlanta Braves from the 4 spot through the 9 spot coming into this game 16 for 100, a 160 average.
Here's the rookie Andrew Jones. He looks at a ball, and as you look at it today, you've got McGriff 0 for 2. Javier Lopez, the only one doing anything. He has 2 hits, 2 out of 3. 6, 7, 8, 9. 0 for 2-0 on Andrew Jones, who has struck out and grounded out. 0 for 9, 6, 7, and 8. Include the pitcher in there for Atlanta. 3-0 on Jones with Blauser on deck, and Pagnozzi wants to talk to Donovan.
Andrew Jones, only the 2nd player in the history of Major League Baseball to be from the island of Curacao. The other, Bam Bam Mullins. Hensley Mullins, an outfielder for the Yankees back in the early 90s. Bam Bam, you gotta love that.
Great nickname. Andrew Jones takes ball 4, and on 4 straight, a 2-out walk. So it's 2 on, 2 out. Terry Pendleton back to the dugout after his T-ball practice. And with 2 on, 2 out, key at bat here for Atlanta, and Jeff Blauser, who is 0 for 2. That's the 3rd walk issued by Osborne today.
Notice Terry Pendleton swinging off that tee. Of course, he's a switch hitter. He's swinging right-handed, and sure enough, the Braves have activity in the bullpen with 2 out and Glavine on deck.
Blauser, the key man at the plate. 2 on, 2 out. 2-1 St. Louis. Top of the 6th. Into left center field. Gant drifting. Inning over. A hit and a walk to left. Osborne and the Cardinals out of trouble. Bottom of the 6th inning. 2-1 St. Louis. Busch Stadium in St. Louis. 2-1. Cardinals out in front. Now you know where some of the Braves fans are staying here in St. Louis. There's a good looking hat. It's got to be one of those where you can pull the string and the wings start flapping. It's kind you wear to the ballpark regularly, Brendan.
Get a high wind, you can actually lift off the ground with that thing.
That was a payback remark from earlier, Bob.
Oh, there's more to follow. Gant, Jordan, Gaetti will bat. 6th inning, 2-1. St. Louis out in front. Glavine due to lead off in the 7th inning, so this is probably it for Glavine, who is approaching the 100-pitch plateau anyway. This is his 99th pitch of the afternoon. It's a ball, and it's 1-2 on Gant.
As I mentioned earlier, that gets to be in the danger zone for Tommy Glavine. Batting averages against him in the early innings, the highest of any inning is 260 in the 1st inning, and they're all much lower than that until you get to the 90 to 100 pitch mark, which is usually around the 7th inning of the ball game. It jumps well over 300.
Gant into deep center field. 3-1 St. Louis.
The 100th pitch.
You see Lopez set up on the outside corner. The pitch strays back over the outside part of the plate. Gant gets extension. Drives it to the deepest part of the park.
Now Jordan into right center field. That's falling in a hurry. Grissom can't get it, but Dye can. Jermaine Dye with a diving catch to take a hit away from Jordan.
What a terrific play by Jermaine Dye. And luckily for the Braves, they do not collide. This could have been nasty had they hit shoulders or heads. Dye in front of Grissom. Marquise getting down in time. And fortunately, they're both all right.
It looked like Tim Grissom kind of dug his knees in to pop himself over the legs of Dye.
Sure did.
Talk about tremendous athletic plays. We just saw one right there to prevent serious injury.
2 of them, really.
Absolutely.
The one that caught the ball and the one that avoided the collision.
1-0 the count on Gaetti. Great play by Dye here in the 6th inning. 2-0, and this St. Louis crowd is getting loud, and the Atlanta bullpen is getting busy. Klontz the right-hander. Wade is the left-hander. Into left field. That's curling toward the corner. A hit. You don't test Andrew Jones. It's a 1-out single.
Especially if you're Gary Gaetti, who has a bad ankle. His left ankle still bothering him. Looks like a changeup. Gaetti gets the bat head out, and that ball indeed hooks toward the line. Nice play by Andrew Jones. A backhand on the short hop. Wasn't really sure whether he had control of the ball, but gets it back in time to hold Gaetti to a single.
in St. Louis are having fun.
Those are mock chops.
Gant, a 2-home run day. A 2-run shot in the first, a solo shot here in the 6th inning. A 1-out hit by Gaetti. That says it all. We don't need to say anything after that. Here's Mabry, strike 1. Check on Gaetti, who's going nowhere. You can see a beach ball is on the field in deep right center, and nobody knows.
That's how big the ball looks to Ron Gant today.
That's actually the ball that fell back in from the seats.
Of all the players of the 4 teams that are still alive in the major leagues, nobody from an emotional standpoint wants to win more than this guy because of the team that he's playing.
You hear it in football where players who are released or cut by a team, they get up for that one game against their former franchise. And here's Gant, who last year fell flat on his face in the LCS, hit only 188 with no extra base hits while playing for Cincinnati. Well, same color, different uniform. Gant is 5 out of 12 with 2 home runs against Atlanta in this LCS. One ball, one strike on Mabry. A single that he blooped into left field his last time up. That will get out of play, strike 2. The Cardinals starter has a little more breathing room here in the 6th. The only reason he has any breathing room is because of him. 2-2 on Mabry, and Glavine is about finished.
And you can see he's missing by more and more, and missing his spots, not necessarily missing over the plate, but earlier in the game he was hitting the corners pretty consistently, pushing the ball inside, pushing the batters off the plate, then going back away. Now we see him throwing breaking balls in the dirt and missing his spots by a wide margin.
If he gets Mabry out, he'll stay in the game probably. If he doesn't, he won't.
Now 3-2. Best case scenario for Bobby Cox, get Glavine through the inning and lift him for a pinch hitter in the 7th. Glavine is due to lead off next inning.
Could be thinking about a double switch and bring Terry Pendleton in at third, move Chipper Jones to short.
The chopper to first for McGriff. 2 out. Gaetti down to second, and Pagnazzi will be the hitter. Another option, because of Chipper Jones and his flexibility, is moving Chipper Jones into the outfield.
Yep. I was thinking because Blauser made the last out, if he does make a double switch, you lead Pendleton off in the top of the 7th, put the pitcher in the 8-hole. None of that's going to happen because Mabry was retired, and I would pitch very carefully to Pagnazzi. He's been dodging bullets all day with Pagnazzi. Remember, he hits the ball very well the other way. This is a pitch around situation.
Got him to pop up to the right side. Jermaine Dye comes on. Inning over, but not before Ron Gant leads off with his 2nd home run of the day. And now after 6 in St. Louis, 3-1 Cardinals. We'll be back to Busch Stadium after this from your local Fox station.
Oh, Fox, home of Super Bowl 31.
Gant has accounted for all 3 Cardinal runs here this afternoon, and when he went out to take his position in left, well, what you would expect.
May take more than Moses to part this Red Sea. Talking about seeing red here.
Braves will try to get it started here in the 7th inning. Send in Mike Mordecai. Bobby Cox calls him his best right-handed pinch hitter. Off the bench for Atlanta, batting for Glavine, strike one. Mordecai, then Grissom, then Lemke.
I don't think I've ever been to a ballpark, postseason, regular season, and seen a dominant color as much as I'm seeing today. I bet 3/5 of the people here have something red on.
Quick 0-2 count on Mordecai. They've been waiting since 1987 to get postseason baseball back to St. Louis. Bilecki and Nick Michael getting ready for the Braves out in their bullpen. One of those two will take over in the bottom of the 7th. 0-2 to Mordecai. Back to Osborne. 1 out. Leadoff man is gone here in the 7th inning. We'll give you our Aflac trivia question. Who is the only player to hit an extra inning home run in a postseason game for the Cardinals? I have a feeling that person is somewhere in this ballpark. 1 out, nobody on here in the 7th. Here's Grissom. He's had a good day, a couple of hits, a run scored. Braves got their only run way back in the 1st. That's out of play for strike one.
If you're wondering why the Braves have 2 right-handers up in the bullpen, that's in the event that they come back and tie or take a lead. We'll see McMichael. Should the score stay the same or the Braves even score 1 run and still trail, we would get Bilecki, the one on the right there.
That's why, since the Braves are trailing by 2, McMichael's not throwing. If they get a rally going, show that they're either going to tie it or take the lead, then you'll see McMichael going a little harder.
1 out here in the 7th inning. Breaking ball missed. 1 ball, 1 strike on Grissom. Inside, 2-1. Grissom has had a good series. 5 hits, 12 at bats. After only 1 hit in the division playoff. It's a changeup for strike 2. Rick Honeycutt, the left-hander. The only one throwing right now, but Kaisig is out there with him. Grissom, tough test. Clayton, and he passed it. 2 out. Who is the only player to ever hit an extra inning home run in a postseason game for the Cardinals? Is this person in the ballpark, Tim McCarver?
Well, he better be, and I better know it. That was a long time ago.
All right, tell us about it.
Well, it was the Yankee game when Gibson gave up the 2-run home run to Tom Tresh in the bottom of the 9th inning. And, oh, come on, guys. I'm over humility you now.
Here's a chopper to the left side off the bat of Lemke. Clayton, a good arm. A 1-2-3 7th inning for Donovan Osborne. They didn't know what to expect from Osborne. He's been sharp so far. We get into the bottom of the 7th inning. Cardinals out in front 3-1 on 2 home runs by Ron Gant. Mike Bilecki takes over for Atlanta here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Glavine 6 innings, 3 runs on 7 hits. Walked none, struck out 5. Allowed the 2 home runs to Gant and hit a batter. Here's Gallego. He's grounded into a double play and bounced back to the pitcher. One ball, 1 strike. Is Gallego way late with that cut.
Joe, you were kidding about that eye black under the eyes. And if it does indeed peel off, why doesn't Mike peel it off right now? You don't need, there's no glare to be involved with. Looks good.
Menacing look for little Mike.
Talk about menacing. Now, that's why I preferred the old grease paint. If you use anything at all, you can smear that around your face, you know. Tough look.
Yeah.
That's too neat.
1-2 the count. 2-2.
I made a comment earlier this year that with the old grease paint, if you sweat a lot, by the end of the ball game, you end up looking like the drummer for Kiss.
There you go. Peter Chris, by the way, is his name. You didn't know that.
I knew that.
I didn't.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Gallego. Just low. 3-2. Bilecki just into the game here in the 7th inning. Gallego leading it off into center field. Grissom drifting back, 1 away. So Gallego 0 for 3, and the batter will be the pitcher, Donovan Osborne. Remember, tomorrow it's Game 4 of the National League Championship Series when Fred McGriff and the world champion Atlanta Braves battle Brian Jordan of the St. Louis Cardinals. The road to the World Series on Fox continues at 7 Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. This is shaping up to be a heck of a series. It's Nagel and Andy Bennis pitching tomorrow. And then back to Smoltz and Todd Stottlemyre. At least that's the plan for Monday. 0-2 on Osborne, who is set up for his 3rd strikeout of the day. Clayton will be next.
Osborne, a huge hand when he got in the box, and boy, does he deserve it. He's been brilliant today.
First championship series start, and he has shut down Atlanta. He strikes out for the 3rd time as Bilecki has gone through the first 2 here in the 7th inning, and the batter will be Clayton.
Atlanta drew first blood today, but Donovan Osborne has had the clamps out the last 6 innings. He has stitched that wound rather nicely.
Really struggled in the first inning with that leadoff hit. Then Grissom was running on a pitch where Lemke grounded out. Then remember that wild pitch that he snapped off that traveled about 48, 49 feet. Maybe a little further. A sac fly hit by Chipper Jones, and it was 1-0 Atlanta. Then they added to it with a walk and a double, but a line drive right at the man at the plate, Clayton, ended that first half inning. And the Braves really haven't had a rally since. 1-1 on Clayton. It was 2 out of 3 this afternoon. Bobby Cox in the 8th inning will have Jones, McGriff, and Lopez to the plate. 2 out, nobody on. And a right, well hit, but right at Jermaine Dodd. Playing him to go to right now, and Clayton obliges. After 7, Donovan Osborne back to work. 8th inning, 3-1 St. Louis.
You, and you.
Happening here in St. Louis, the Cardinals out in front, 3-1. Joe Buck, Bob Brentley, Tim McCarver with you. This is what's happened so far. Chipper Jones put Atlanta out in front. Ron Gant has gone deep twice for the 3 Cardinal runs. Look at the 2 pitchers, Osborne and Glavine. Glavine with all the experience. Glavine, who came into this game the winningest pitcher the last 6 seasons, and with all kinds of postseason credentials. And Donovan Osborne has simply outpitched him this afternoon.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, in Glavine's credit, with the exception of the 2nd home run to Gant, he settled in very nicely. But Osborne has just been dominating today, using all 4 of his pitches from the 1st inning right up until now in the top of the 8th inning, and very effective with all 4.
Chipper Jones leading off, and a line drive base hit into right field. So Jones is on. He took a pitch up around his eyes and lined a single to right. And now the tying run comes to the plate, McGriff.
That was a curveball right around the waist. Jones rifles it to right. The Atlanta Braves have had the leadoff batter on in only 1 inning in this game, and that was the 1st inning. And they scored in the 1st inning. The Cardinals have had their leadoff batter on in 3 innings, and they've scored in 2 of them, all 3 runs. So you think baseball's not a game of first? Again, that's an example of it.
Here's McGriff, tying run at the plate, 8th inning. The fastball misses high for ball 1. McGriff 0 for 9 in this NLCS. A leadoff hit from Chipper Jones. 1-1 count on McGriff.
He'd like that pitch back. That ball had tied the game up written on it, and he fouled it back. That was the best swing Fred McGriff's had today. He gets that bat going above his head, and that little twirl, that means he's just finished a good swing.
1-1 the count, 1 on, nobody out. That'll get out of play for strike 2.
Donovan Osborne getting a lot of pitches up in this inning. Chipper Jones' base hit to right field was a curveball that was up high. The good swing Freddie McGriff had was a pitch up. Another pitch up right there, fouled off. It's one of the telltale signs when a guy's starting to get a little tired, starting to lose a little bit. He doesn't finish the pitches quite as well as he did earlier in the ball game.
Now I wonder if Tony La Russa is thinking if Fred McGriff makes an out, I'm going to bring the right-hander in to pitch to Lopez. I would imagine.
Yeah, and you know they wouldn't pinch it for Lopez.
No.
Now, remember, after Hobby, you've got Ryan Klesko lurking down there on that Atlanta bench.
Yep.
1 on, nobody out. 1-2 from Osborne. Base hit McGriff. Chipper Jones will stop at second, and the first 2 are on here in the 8th inning as McGriff finally breaks through. Tying runs are on here in the 8th inning.
There's another pitch up in the strike zone over the heart of the plate. McGriff gets good extension, drives it past the diving Mike Gallego. We talked about Tommy Glavine, how he runs out of gas around the 100-pitch mark, and the same could be said for Osborne. The averages go up after he gets over 100 pitches, and he's over 100 pitches now.
And headed toward the dugout. Inning. He leaves trailing, or I should say leading 3-1. Petkazik takes over. Remember, tonight the Orioles try to even the series as they host the New York Yankees at Camden Yards in Baltimore. That game is on NBC. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on NBC. And our very best of Bob Costas, Bob Euchre, Joe Morgan. Done a great job. They'll bring you.
Sure have.
They will bring you the game tonight from Camden Yards, Game 4. Then we will be back tomorrow. Get underway at 7 o'clock Eastern here in St. Louis. Game number 4 of our series. What will the count be? Right now, split a game apiece. Donovan Osborne has left, and Mark Petkazik in with 2 on, nobody out, facing Javier Lopez.
Cardinals are not looking for a bunt, and they shouldn't be looking for a bunt.
Two on, nobody out. Lopez, that's strike 1. Petkazik was the loser in Game 1. He now has appeared in each of the 3 NLCS games.
You have 2 left-handers with whom Bobby Cox could choose. Terry Pendleton, Ryan Klesko.
2 on, nobody out. To third, it's a foul ball. No double play. It's a foul ball and strike 2 on Lopez.
And that's the loudest cheer you'll ever hear for a foul ball. It was so close, the folks here think it was fair, and they all rose after this happened. This is the home plate umpire's call because it's in front of the bag, and it was a foul ball. See how Gaetti has to reach over. It's fouled by about 6 innings.
Think Donovan's still into this game?
He was looking with his heart then.
So 2 on, nobody out, and the 0-2 to Lopez. Lopez has already doubled and singled. Jermaine Dye waits on deck.
And Lopez has grounded into 17 double plays this year, so it's not totally unusual for him.
Good save by Pagnazzi and a 2-2 count on Lopez.
Boy, that was a terrific play by Tom Pagnazzi. That is the toughest ball. Bob mentioned earlier, it's very difficult when a pitcher throws a sinker or a fastball and throws it in the dirt. You don't anticipate those balls in the dirt. And the crossover by Pagnazzi was terrific.
Just missed the inside corner and a full count on Lopez.
Got to send the runners here. Got to. You're going to get a ground ball probably. Lopez 17 double plays. That pitch was low.
Saw Bobby Cox do it twice this season when we had games during the regular season and ran into a strike him out, throw him out.
There they go. Gaetti knocks it down. Throws to first. Everybody's safe and the bases are loaded for the Braves here in the 8th.
I'll tell you what I think Gary Gaetti was thinking about on that play. The ball was laced on a one-hop to Gaetti, but I think Gary was thinking about making the catch and touching third. He had some body language to his right. See that right there? I think he was thinking about third base. Had Bobby Cox not sent the runners, that wouldn't have been an option. By the time he recovers, Lopez is safe, and it's being ruled a base hit.
The bases are loaded with nobody out in a 3-1 game 8th inning. Jermaine dies, strike one.
You know, if Bobby Cox doesn't send the runners, when Gaetti catches the ball and recovers, he could have a play at second base with McGriff running.
Not all that surprising that Bobby Cox leaves Jermaine Dye in here with the presence of Honeycutt out in the bullpen. If he were to go to Klesko. However, the rookie does not look good on the first two, and it's an 0-2 count.
That's why if you pinch hit, Bobby will probably go to Pendleton because he's a switch hitter. That negates Honeycutt.
Pendleton on deck. 3 singles here in the 8th inning. 0-2 into center field. Here's Chipper Jones coming home to score, making it a 1-run game. Remember, Langford does not have a healthy left shoulder, and the sac fly by Jermaine Dye, which didn't carry that far beyond the infield.
That's the first time in this series Ray Langford's shoulder has come into play. A torn rotator cuff. I'm surprised Fred McGriff didn't try to go to third. Langford, I don't think, has a play. He's going to throw the ball to Royce Clayton on a cutoff situation. I'm surprised McGriff doesn't try to go to third on this ball, even though it wasn't deep. With Langford's throwing arm, there is no way he throws to third. He probably gets rid of the ball to Clayton. Clayton would have had a shot, but that takes time, and I think Fred would have been safe. Good time to do it with 1 out.
And that's the first time it's really been exposed. So far, the Cardinals outfielders have been able to cut balls off when they're in the gap, but that's the first ball that's been hit right to Langford and exposes just how sore that throwing shoulder is.
Now it's a 1-run game, and the former Cardinal Terry Pendleton pinch hitting. Batting for the rookie Andrew Jones. That's strike one. During the regular season, which was split between Florida and Atlanta, you saw the numbers: 2 on, 1 out. Andrew Jones was 0 for 2 while he was in there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Three hits, a sacrifice fly, and a run here in the 8th inning for Atlanta. They trail by 1. And it's a 2-1 count on Pendleton. Two on, 1 out. 2-1 to Pendleton. Out in front, strike 2.
Tremendous downward movement on all Pet Kajzik's pitches. Sinker goes down hard. That was a changeup moving down hard. Throws a slider that goes down hard.
He's the most dominant ground ball pitcher in the Cardinal bullpen.
2-2. Right at Gallego. They did not double off McGriff. And the inning continues here in the 8th.
Good base running by Fred McGriff. Base runners are reminded with less than 2 outs, watch the line drive, watch the line drive. And McGriff does, and just gets back. You could see he was leaning toward third, but he recovers in time.
And the inning continues. 2 on, 2 out for Jeff Blauser. Cardinals leading 3-2 and a strike over the outside corner.
A heads-up base running by McGriff. You're taught a couple different things. Number one, watch the line drive, but also on a ball hit to your left, you want to get as big a jump as you can. And Freddie got the first step jump, realized it was a line drive, waited to see where it was, and had plenty of time to get back.
An 0-2 count on Blauser. Wouldn't chase ball 1. Blauser is 0 for 3 today, 1 out of 11 in this series. Kaiser came in with 2 on. Allowed the infield hit by Lopez to load him up. A sac fly. He got Pendleton. And it's a 1-2 count on Jeff Blauser. Bails Osborne and the Cardinals out of trouble. Bottom of the 8th inning. Cardinals lead by
1. Smartest army in the world. Be all you can be. By the Oral-B Plaque Remover, providing unsurpassed clinical performance. And by Rogaine, medically proven to regrow hair for men and women.
Next to the downtown courthouse is Busch Stadium. And this place right now is shaken. Terry Pendleton pinch hitting lined out. The Braves put the first 3 on in the 8th inning, get only 1 run. And now here in the bottom of the 8th inning, Cardinals bat leading 3-2. A new left fielder is Ryan Klesko. He takes over. He'll bat 9th. So he will lead off in the 9th inning. Pitching and batting in the 7th spot, McMichael.
This is an unusual move. This is a move that's made by a lot of managers, but what Bobby Cox is doing, he's exposing Ryan Klesko to the left-handed Rick Honeycutt. An alternative would have been to leave Terry Pendleton in the game, keep him at third, keep Blauser at short, and move Chipper Jones to left field. That would have been an alternative. Then you see what Tony La Russa is going to do in the top of the 9th and work accordingly. Bring in the opposite hitter. Left-hander pitches, a right-hander, vice versa.
Here's Langford leading off in the 8th inning. So right now you would imagine Tony La Russa's 9th inning is set. With Klesko leading off, you expect to see Honeycutt into the game.
Guaranteed. And Rick Honeycutt, or I should say Ryan Klesko, 3 home runs, a .230 average this year against left-handed pitchers.
0-2 the count on Langford leading off 8th inning. Langford, Gant, Jordan.
The Pendleton pinch hit for Andrew Jones, so your left fielder's out of the game. But Chipper Jones is a good outfielder.
Langford strikes out in a blink, and he is now 0 for 11 in this series. Ron Gant walks to the plate to a standing ovation. In the first inning, a 2-run shot to put the Cardinals on top. In the 6th inning, a leadoff home run to make it a 3-1 game. It's now 3-2 St. Louis. A ball high to Gant.
If Gant's going to hit his 3rd home run of the ball game, chances are he's going to have to do it against a changeup. Greg McMichael throws almost exclusively changeups, an occasional fastball to set it up.
2-0 the count.
Bob, the remarkable thing about Greg McMichael, as you see Rick Honeycutt, Dennis Eckersley, probably both of them will be involved in the top of the 9th inning.
2-0 to Gant, right down the middle.
There's the changeup on a 2-0 count. McMichael keeps the changeup away to right-handers and away to left-handers. They're 2 different pitches.
Broken bat grounder to Jones. High throw. Good play by McGriff on the other end. 2 out here in the 8th.
As a hitter, it's hard to convince yourself to go to the plate and look for a changeup. But against Greg McMichael, it might not be a bad approach because it's his best pitch, the one he has the most confidence in. That was another one right there. Gant hits it off the end of the bat, splinters his bat. It's a tough thing to convince yourself to do as a hitter. You don't want to take that one fastball.
Yep.
Now Jordan. Jordan 0 for 3 with a pop-up, a ground out. He's flied to right, and he takes a strike. 7 hits in the postseason. In this series, 3. Quickly an 0-2 count, and McMichael picking right up where Belenke left off. Belenke a perfect inning with a strikeout. And now McMichael working on a 1-2-3-8.
Bobby Cox checking his lineup card.
1-2 on Jordan. 2 out, nobody on. 8th inning. Inning over. Good work by McMichael. The series is tied 1 game apiece. This is game 3 into the 9th inning. 3-2 St. Louis. Well, what you thought might happen will here in the 9th inning. Double switch. Willie McGee takes over in center field for the ailing Ray Langford. He'll bat in the number 9 spot, and now pitching. Batting in the number 2 position is Rick Honeycutt.
And don't blink because you're only going to see him face one batter, and that's leadoff hitter Ryan Klesko, the left-hander. As Tim mentioned last inning, the way the lineup was flipped by the Braves last inning, it really set it up for Tony La Russa to go to his lefty. There you see Dennis Eckersley. I'm sure he'll come in to face Marquise Grissom and try to finish this game off for the Cardinals.
Now, you know, a caveat's got to be said here. This is one thing to think about. If Terry Pendleton is left in the game and he becomes a 3rd baseman, Blauser's still at short, and Chipper Jones is in left field, what Tony La Russa could do is still send Petkaisik out in the top of the 9th inning, make Bobby Cox go to the pinch hitter, it'd probably be Klesko, and then bring Rick Honeycutt in the ballgame. But as he chose it to put Klesko in left field, he's ending up leading off here in the 9th.
So Klesko could tie it with a swing against left-handers, hitting only .230 with 3 of his 34 regular season home runs. Gallego to his right. 1 pitch. See you later, Rick Honeycutt.
And that's all for Rick Honeycutt.
What a day's work. He warms up in the bullpen. On the mound, he throws 1 pitch. Klesko is gone. So is Honeycutt, and here comes Eckersley. 1 out, top of the 9th inning. Top of the order coming up for Atlanta. They trail by 1.
Aluminum.
Bob and I will award third today's Chevrolet Player of the Game as Dennis Eckersley takes over. During the regular season, 30 saves, a record of 0-6, and he has his work cut out here in the ninth inning with Grissom, his first opponent. He got the save in game 2. He picked it up, saving it for Stottlemyre. No miracle tonight. Eckersley throws, and it was not without a couple of extra heart palpitations.
You have no idea how quickly your pulse can go up in such a short period of time, as Tony La Russa had to grab his chest and had a little smile there after it was over, but that was not a comfortable feeling.
I'll tell you, Bob, you brought up, while we were in a break, you brought up a very good point. That if Bobby Cox uses Louis Polonia to put into left field instead of Ryan Klesko, Honeycutt's still going to be the pitcher. Now, Polonia would have a much better chance of getting on than Ryan because he can bunt. He's got speed, infield hit. Now, when Honeycutt leaves the game and Eckersley becomes the pitcher, you still have the powerful Klesko to pinch hit for Mark Lemke.
And Eckersley's had a lot of problems with lefties this year.
Right. Strike one to Grissom. Eckersley 3 saves in the postseason. It was not a save situation in game 2. He wrapped it up for Stottlemyre, who got the win in Atlanta. Strike 2.
Pitcher in either league would hit that last pitch. It sliced the outside corner at the knees.
Now Mark Lemke. Eckersley has 10 career league championship series saves, which is a major league record.